What if what you call God is actually you? Have you ever considered that your very existence is a code waiting to be unlocked? This isn't about some external deity or a supernatural force out there somewhere, but a realization of your own inherent divinity, an ability to shape your reality that lies dormant within every human being. It's a shift from passive belief to active participation, from being a recipient to becoming the source. If reality is a simulation, then you're not just a character in the game. You're the very consciousness creating that simulation with each thought and feeling, each choice and action. This quantum code, therefore, isn't a hidden formula waiting to be discovered, but a fundamental design, a pattern that exists as the very fabric of reality, from the smallest subatomic particle to the most vast cosmic expanse. This very pattern is your very existence. Understanding it requires a reevaluation of everything you thought you knew, a moving beyond the limiting narratives you've been given, and a questioning of the authority figures who benefit from keeping you unaware of your true potential. Most information about reality, the very nature of consciousness, and the essence of your own being is controlled, a narrative carefully curated to keep you passive. But this quantum code is your key to reclaiming your authority. The significance of understanding this quantum code cannot be overstated. This is more than just an intellectual exercise, a collection of interesting ideas. It's the key to unlocking your inherent potential and a path toward liberation. This understanding isn't just for the sake of knowledge itself, but a doorway to a profound personal transformation that reverberates throughout every facet of your life. It's about recognizing your capability to reshape your entire existence, to actively participate in creating the reality you desire. And the implications extend far beyond the personal, hinting at the possibility of collective change, where your individual transformation contributes to a shift in the entire world, a conscious reshaping of our shared experience. By realizing your own inherent power, you're not just changing your own life, you're actively influencing the collective consciousness, and this new understanding has far-reaching effects. This knowledge allows you to move from being a passive recipient of life to becoming an active co-creator, from a state of powerlessness to a place of immense creative potential, forever transforming your understanding of yourself, your relationship with the world, and your perception of reality itself. This is not about following a guru or subscribing to a set of rules, but about recognizing the inherent power you already possess, realizing that the only authority you need is your own self-knowledge, the inner knowing that is your birthright. Now, let's briefly set aside some conventional ideas about God as some external being or some kind of separate entity existing outside of yourself, somewhere in the heavens. The concept of God, instead, is the experience of your own awareness, the potential inherent within each individual, your capacity to shape and create. Therefore, we are shifting our focus inward, toward our own capabilities, moving away from traditional religious constructs and dogmatic belief systems, and paving the way for a new understanding of inherent divinity. The quantum code is not a literal, decipherable code in the sense of complex equations, but an analogy, a metaphor for the underlying principles that govern reality and how they interact with human consciousness. It's not about understanding complicated physics formulas, but about grasping how your awareness shapes the very reality you experience. This underlying pattern governs all of reality, and you are, fundamentally, that pattern. This understanding, therefore, is not limited to a scientific framework, nor is it confined within ancient scriptures, but something that bridges the gap between them. Both science and ancient wisdom traditions point toward the same fundamental truth: that you are more than you currently believe yourself to be. These are different pathways to the same point, different languages speaking to the very same core experience, offering different perspectives on that experience of your own inherent power. The path to understanding this code lies not in blind faith, but in the constant questioning of your assumptions and the cultivation of inner reflection. Therefore, we will use self-inquiry as a primary tool to understand this code, thereby emphasizing direct experience over intellectual understanding and setting up a framework of inner-focused action steps that you will be taking along this journey of self-discovery. But why has this knowledge been kept hidden? Who benefits from you not knowing your own power? Is there a hidden system, a conspiracy perhaps, that has deliberately kept this understanding away from the masses? There is indeed a pattern, and we will explore the ancient and modern examples of these patterns to reveal the truth. Is there a reason why knowledge of your own inherent power has remained secret for so long? We'll uncover a specific structure to this pattern throughout this video, and it is this pattern that will be the very key to unlocking the code. We will explore how those in positions of authority within various power structures of the world have used specific techniques to keep people small and passive. We'll be exploring these patterns, both ancient and modern, to uncover the nature of this hidden system and to reveal the truth about your own power. This isn't a random collection of facts, but a series of interconnected patterns, and as we unpack them, we'll see how they relate to each other. Next, we'll dive into the quantum and ancient principles that provide the key to understanding this code, and in turn, unlock your infinite potential. Stay tuned to learn more. So, let's delve into the very fabric of reality and begin by exploring the core principles that make up the quantum code. What if the seemingly strange and counterintuitive laws of quantum physics are actually a precise description of how consciousness shapes experience? It's time to move past the abstract ideas and understand how this quantum code is not just theoretical, but rather a reflection of how reality itself is structured and how you are intimately involved in its creation. Let's start with the idea of superposition, which, at its core, states that a quantum system can exist in multiple states at the same time, and it's not until it is observed that it collapses into a single, defined state. It's as if reality exists as a field of infinite possibilities, an ocean of potential from which we choose to experience a wave. This isn't just about subatomic particles. It is a metaphor for the infinite possibilities within each moment, within your own awareness. Each moment is a quantum event, full of unmanifested potential, and it is through your awareness that one of these possibilities comes into being. Think of a wave existing within the ocean of potential. The wave is only actualized when the ocean is observed, yet the wave and ocean are still the same thing. Now, consider the observer effect, which, at its core, shows how the act of observation directly influences the behavior of quantum particles. But what does this have to do with you? This is about more than just scientific observation. This demonstrates the pivotal role that consciousness plays in shaping reality. Your awareness isn't just passively receiving information, it's actively participating in the creation of what you perceive. This means that your experience of the world is not separate from you. It's a direct reflection of your inner state of awareness. It's as if you are constantly choosing from an infinite array of possibilities, and your attention acts as a sort of tuning dial, selecting which of those possibilities is brought into focus. For example, think about how an event, seemingly neutral, can be perceived differently based on what you're focusing on. If you focus on the negative aspects of an event, you'll experience it as negative. If you focus on the positive, your experience becomes positive, thus changing your reality. You're not a passive bystander, but the active agent that collapses possibility into reality. So what does this mean for you? It means that you are not separate from the reality you perceive. You are literally a creator of it. And how does entanglement fit into all of this? Quantum entanglement shows how two or more particles can become interconnected in such a way that they instantaneously affect each other, no matter how far apart they are, demonstrating a profound interconnectedness of all things. This isn't just a scientific curiosity, it's a fundamental truth of the universe. And if it is true for quantum particles, it's equally true for you. You are not separate from the world or from each other. You are all interconnected nodes in a larger field of consciousness. Think about the vastness of space, And consider that entangled particles can be on opposite ends of the universe, yet they respond instantly to each other. This is also how you are connected to every other human being, and this is the true nature of the quantum code. We are, therefore, not separate individuals, but different expressions of the same underlying reality. These quantum principles aren't just abstract theories, they are the building blocks of your existence. Superposition, entanglement, and the observer effect are the very mechanics of the quantum code. And when you understand them, you gain insight into how reality is created and how you can shape your own experience. The universe isn't a machine, it is a conscious process, and you, as a conscious being, are an essential part of that process. You are not separate from the process, you are the process itself. Now, let's move from the quantum world to the ancient one, and examine how these same principles were understood by the sages of the past. What if ancient texts and spiritual traditions aren't just philosophical ramblings, but rather codebooks that describe the same underlying principles revealed by quantum physics? For instance, consider the Tao Te Ching, which describes the nature of reality as fluid, interconnected, and in constant flux. And these ancient texts weren't just philosophical musings. They were observations about the nature of reality, presented in the language available at that time. These texts, therefore, are not just religious doctrines, but maps that guide you toward a profound understanding of your own being and the very mechanics of the quantum code. They point towards the same understanding that the quantum sciences are pointing at. Reality is not solid and fixed. It is fluid and changing based on the observer. The sages of the past, though lacking our modern technology, still had a deep understanding of these principles through observation, contemplation, and self-inquiry, which mirrors the methods used by scientists today. Across these different ancient traditions, we find recurring themes, a pattern that highlights self-realization, interconnectedness, and the power of consciousness, which serves to solidify the underlying principles of the quantum code. The Vedic scriptures, for example, describe Maya as the illusion that we are separate from one another and from the source, but also as the projection that we create of our own reality. These ancient teachings echo the quantum principle of entanglement, emphasizing that what we perceive as separate individuals are, in fact, all interconnected aspects of the same underlying field of consciousness. And what about the Hermetica? These texts emphasize the power of the mind to shape reality, pointing directly to the quantum observer effect, where consciousness is the key to creating your own experience. The Hermetica suggests that we are not passive recipients of reality, but rather active co-creators of it, which is a direct echo of the observer effect, as consciousness collapses quantum possibility into a defined experience. These ancient wisdom traditions, therefore, aren't just relics of the past. They're a timeless map that guides you to your inherent power and are describing the very mechanics of the quantum code. And what about the ancient practices themselves? Meditation, yoga, and mindfulness weren't just methods for achieving enlightenment as an end goal. They were practical tools for accessing the quantum code, for quieting the mind to see the true nature of reality. For example, meditation is an exercise that allows the observer to quiet the mind, thus creating the space for true observation to take place, thereby accessing the pure awareness. When the mind is quiet, you begin to notice that thoughts are fleeting, transient, and are not the essence of who you are. Yoga and other movement-based practices are ways of harmonizing the mind-body connection, creating an integrated experience. In essence, they were not just exercises for spiritual growth, but practical tools for understanding the dynamics of consciousness and its influence on reality. Through these practices, the sages of the past were able to understand the principles of the quantum world, and therefore create their own reality consciously. So, is it just a coincidence that the sages understood the same principles that modern quantum physics has uncovered? It's as if these ancient texts and practices are giving you the user manual for your own consciousness, a guide to accessing the quantum code, which already exists within you. It's not just philosophical, it's immensely practical. Now, let's address the limiting beliefs, those self-imposed prisons that keep you from your true potential. What if the limitations you experience in your life aren't inherent truths, but the result of carefully crafted narratives? Consider the societal structures, political, religious, and educational, which all play a part in reinforcing the illusion of limitation, constantly reminding you of your supposed lack of control. These aren't merely benign systems. They are structures that rely on you believing that you are small and powerless. Think about how these narratives actively discourage individual inquiry, promoting obedience over independent thought, thereby keeping you within a limited perspective. By fostering a sense of fear, division, and scarcity, these structures create a dependency on external authority rather than self-reliance, preventing you from realizing the immense power you possess. The less you know about yourself and your inherent power, the easier it is to control you. These systems thrive by keeping you from asking the right questions, from realizing that you are the source of your experience. It's as if there's a hidden agenda to keep you passive, a subtle manipulation designed to make you believe you have limited potential, which maintains status quo. And what about authority structures, the ones that claim to have all the answers? These structures, whether religious, political, or corporate, depend on your belief in their superiority, and they all rely on the same tactics: control through fear, division, and the promotion of scarcity. When you believe you are separate and powerless, you are more likely to seek validation from these external sources, reinforcing a system that keeps you in a perpetual cycle of dependence. So what's the result? The result is that most of humanity moves through life with the self-limiting belief that their life is at the mercy of external forces. Think about how these narratives discourage self-inquiry and critical thinking, promoting a culture of obedience rather than exploration. What if the truth is that there are no external authorities, but only reflections of the power you hold within yourself? It is this very understanding that breaks the cycle of dependence and allows you to take back your own authority. The result of all this is that limiting beliefs become a prison, a cage of your own making, constructed by the narratives you've internalized over a lifetime, and that these beliefs aren't universal truths, but rather inherited patterns from family, culture, and society. They are the very things that keep you confined, limiting your experience. So how can you break free? By becoming aware of these limiting belief structures and the narratives that support them, this allows you to question their validity and begin the process of rewriting them. Think about the things you tell yourself about who you are, what you're capable of, and what you deserve. These are not facts, they are beliefs that can be changed. You are not confined by the story you tell yourself. You can, in fact, change that story. The quantum code is not an external force to be controlled, but an inner knowing to be accessed. You unlock this code by freeing yourself from the limitations. You recognize that you are not bound by the old narratives, that you are, in fact, free to create your own. You must recognize that the narratives you've been told are not the absolute truth, but beliefs that can be changed. By recognizing this, you reclaim your power and unlock the power of the quantum code. Now, let's shift our focus to the practical, the how of all of this. How do you actually access this quantum code and begin to shape your reality more consciously? The answer is through practical application, and it begins with meditation, which is a direct tool for experiencing the observer effect. Meditation isn't just about achieving some state of bliss, but a method to calm the mind, creating the space for true observation to occur. By stilling the internal dialogue, you create space to observe your thoughts and emotions without judgment, which is the foundation of awareness, and therefore the access to the quantum code. When you are not lost in the chatter of the mind, you are better equipped to understand the true nature of reality. The result of a daily meditation practice is a deeper connection to your true awareness and an increased capacity to shape your experiences from a place of intention rather than reaction. Try this right now. Close your eyes, take a deep breath and focus on the feeling of the air moving in and out of your body. Notice the thoughts that come and go without engaging with them. Simply observe. You are, in that moment, experiencing the power of the observer effect. And what about visualization and intention setting? These practices are not just wishful thinking, they are powerful tools for shaping reality through focused awareness, therefore connecting you directly with the quantum code. When you visualize your desired outcomes with clarity and feeling, you are aligning your awareness with the infinite possibilities inherent in the quantum field, therefore aligning yourself with a specific outcome. Intention is the driving force that collapses quantum possibility into a concrete experience. Your intention directs the flow of potential. So, how can you incorporate this into your daily life? Set a clear intention for the day, visualize it as if it already exists, and focus on the feelings associated with that desired outcome. You are not just wishing for something, you are aligning yourself with the very pattern that brings it into existence, which is the mechanics of the quantum code. You are, in essence, actively programming your reality through focused intention. And how can we bring this into our day-to-day? By consciously focusing your awareness, you become more attuned to your thoughts and feelings, recognizing your creative potential in each and every moment. Pay attention to the way you perceive situations. Notice how your thoughts change your experience, and consciously choose the thoughts that empower you. Start observing the ways you perceive everyday events. Notice the patterns and how these patterns create a feedback loop. These aren't isolated exercises. They are practical ways to access the quantum code, to move from being a passive observer to an active participant in your own life. This isn't just about understanding the theory, it's about embodying these principles through action. It's about taking responsibility for your reality. By combining meditation, intention, and mindful observation, you are taking the first steps into fully embodying the quantum code, moving from theory into direct experience. So, we've explored the core principles of quantum physics, revealed how ancient wisdom traditions describe these very same concepts, and examined the ways in which limiting narratives have kept you from your potential. These aren't separate ideas. They're all interconnected aspects of the same quantum code. We've seen how the mechanics of the quantum world are echoed in ancient wisdom, and how these principles can be practically applied to take back your own power and shape your own reality. Remember the initial hook, what if you are God? Now you are starting to see the patterns and how all of these ideas connect with your own divinity, and how they are not separate, but rather different ways of describing the very same thing. The knowledge we've gained so far is setting you up for a powerful understanding of who you really are. But now, we are going to dive even deeper. We will now take all this knowledge and use it to change your very perspective of God, to show you how all this information relates to you. So, let's take a look at the concept of God, and challenge the traditional narratives that have been passed down through generations. What if the externalized idea of God, the one separate from you, is nothing more than a human construct, a story we've collectively agreed to believe? Isn't it possible that this externalized concept of a higher power has been used throughout history to control and manipulate individuals, keeping people away from realizing their own inherent divinity? Organized religions, with their rigid doctrines and hierarchies, have often used the idea of an external God to establish authority and maintain control over people's lives. Think about how these religious systems create a sense of separation, where you are deemed less than, and in need of an intermediary to connect with the divine, which results in a perpetual feeling of inadequacy and dependence. The result, the very idea of God, becomes a tool of disempowerment, keeping you from realizing your true potential. When God is seen as separate, it creates a sense of lack, a feeling that you need to look outside of yourself for validation and purpose. But what if that's not the true nature of God at all? What if the very idea of an external God is designed to keep you from accessing the quantum code within you? Now, let's shift our focus from faith and belief to the realm of experience. What if the true understanding of God isn't found in dogmatic teachings, but through the direct experience of your own consciousness? The path to recognizing your inherent divinity isn't an external search for a higher power, but rather an internal journey of self-discovery, which is the process of understanding that you are not separate from the source of all creation. Think about all the energy you spend looking for answers outside of yourself, when the very answers you seek are within you. This internal journey of self-inquiry is not about faith. It's about inner knowing, which is accessed by consciously connecting with your own awareness, the same awareness that collapses the wave out of the ocean of infinite possibility. True understanding comes from direct experience, not from passively accepting what others tell you, and this is why the quantum code is not a theory, but a practical tool for self-realization. It is about moving beyond belief and into direct experience, thus becoming your own authority. Let's reframe the concept of God, not as a being, but as the very state of pure consciousness, the underlying source of all creation and all of reality. This is not some supernatural entity sitting on a throne, but a dynamic, infinite field of awareness from which all things emerge, and it's the same awareness that you access when you meditate. This shift in perspective allows you to recognize yourself not as separate from God, but rather as an individualized expression of it. It's like a wave in the ocean. The wave is not separate from the ocean. It is the ocean expressing itself in a unique form. Similarly, you are not separate from the source. You are the source expressing itself as you, and your true nature is divine. You are therefore not a subject of God, but an expression of God, and as such, you are a co-creator of your reality. And this brings us to the quantum code, which is not separate from this understanding of God, but rather is the very mechanics of how this consciousness operates. The potential within you, the ability to shape your reality, the very essence of who you are is a direct reflection of this divine source. By understanding and accessing this code, you are not just unlocking some secret knowledge, you are connecting directly with the creative power of the universe itself. This is not about becoming God, but about realizing that you already are, and that the power to shape your reality is inherent within you. This isn't about faith, it's about understanding your true nature and embracing the potential that lies within. The quantum code is not a thing to be found, it's a thing to be awakened to. Now, let's explore how non-dualistic philosophies illuminate the illusion of separation, deepening your understanding of how you are intimately connected with everything. What if the separation between yourself and the universe is just that, an illusion? Non-dual traditions, such as Advaita Vedanta and Taoism, describe how everything is part of a unified field of consciousness, which is beyond the illusion of separation. This idea of separation is a construct of the mind, a filter through which we perceive reality, and it keeps you from experiencing the underlying truth that everything is one. It's as if we are all actors in a play, playing different parts, but all emanating from the same source. This is why the wise sages say that true reality is beyond duality, beyond the pairs of opposites. These concepts of unified consciousness are not merely philosophical speculations, but rather insights into the very fabric of reality. Think about the idea of Brahman in Advaita Vedanta, which states that the ultimate reality is a singular, all-encompassing consciousness, of which we are all manifestations. These ancient insights are echoed in modern science, in the quantum principle of entanglement, demonstrating how interconnected everything truly is. The separation you perceive is simply a construct of the mind, not the ultimate truth, and this is a key to unlocking the quantum code. And what about the concept of the individual self? Is it as separate as you think it is? The individual self, the you identify with, is just as much a construct of the mind as the idea of separation is, a fleeting character in the grand play of consciousness. This identification with a limited sense of self is the main reason for the illusion of separation from God and all that is. Think of a dream. In a dream, the characters are very real. They seem to have their own lives. their own identities, and yet all of it is a construct of your own mind, created from the field of your consciousness. The same is true in this reality. Your sense of individuality is a creation of the mind, and is as real as a character in a dream, but the ultimate reality is outside the dream. As you begin to unravel the illusions, you realize that the self is not a fixed entity, but a dynamic process, ever-changing and always in flux. This realization is the key to recognizing your true nature beyond the limited confines of individual identity, and the very key to unlocking the quantum code. It's about seeing beyond the mask and recognizing the underlying unity. Let's expand on the concept of interconnectedness and how everything is intimately linked. If all of reality is part of the same field of consciousness, then you too are part of that field, and therefore everything is part of you. By realizing this interconnectedness, you move beyond the illusion of separation and begin to recognize your true nature as the source of all things. This interconnectedness is not just a philosophical concept, but a practical understanding of the unified field of consciousness that is the foundation of the universe, which is supported by the quantum principle of entanglement. The concept of entanglement is the key to understanding how all things are connected and how the actions of one affects all. It is, therefore, no longer theoretical but supported by direct observation, just as the ancient sages understood. Think of a spider web. If one part is moved, the whole web vibrates. Likewise, your actions affect the whole universe. Understanding this interconnectedness is fundamental to unlocking the quantum code, as it reveals how everything you do, every thought you have, shapes the fabric of reality. Therefore, by understanding non-duality, you gain access to the quantum code. By recognizing the interconnectedness of all things, you access a deeper understanding of your own potential and divinity. This understanding is the key that moves this from a philosophical concept to an experienced reality. It allows you to connect with your innate creative power, moving beyond the limitations of the individual self. This is not just about changing your beliefs, it's about changing your perception, and by doing so, you change the very experience of your life. The non-dual perspective allows you to see the interconnectedness of all things and how it all comes from the same source, yourself. It is the realization that you are the source and the expression simultaneously. This understanding is not just for intellectual pondering, it is a roadmap to your own liberation. Now, let's explore the connection between quantum field theory and the field of consciousness, further solidifying that the universe itself is a manifestation of your own awareness. What if the field of pure potential in quantum physics is the same as the field of consciousness, the very field that we have been calling God? The universe is not made of solid matter, but rather a unified field of energy, and this matter is a construct created by awareness through the act of observation. This is not just some mystical idea, it's supported by modern science, and when we understand this, we can understand the very mechanics of how reality itself is created. Think of a canvas, infinitely vast and full of potential. The canvas is the unified field and awareness acts as the artist, selecting what is brought into focus. This unified field is not an empty void, but a dynamic potential that is the source of all existence and all potentiality. Therefore, matter is not the primary reality, consciousness is, and that is the basis of the quantum code. And if this unified field is the very thing we've been calling God, then it's not an entity, but a dynamic potential that is the source of all existence. This is not about worshipping an external being, but recognizing the infinite creative force that underlies all of reality, and that this infinite creative force is not separate from you. This dynamic field of potential is where all possibilities exist, and it's the source of everything that has ever been, is, or will be. This is what the ancient sages and the modern quantum physicists are both pointing at. The universe is not a static thing, but a dynamic process of conscious expression, constantly changing based on the observer. It's the recognition that this all-powerful creative force is not outside of you, but rather the very essence of who you are. And where do you fit within all of this? Each individual is a unique point of awareness within this infinite field of consciousness, and you are not merely an observer, you are an active co-creator of reality, and are also the focal point through which this field expresses and experiences itself. This is not a passive role, it's a very powerful one. This field of infinite potential is expressed in your unique experience. It is your own unique window into the very source of all creation. You are the eyes, the ears, the heart, through which the universe experiences itself. This places you at the center of your reality, responsible for what you experience and how you shape it. You are not just a cog in the machine, you are the very machine itself, and your awareness is the mechanism through which the universe is brought into being. Therefore, the quantum code is nothing more than the mechanics of how this unified field of consciousness operates. It's the very blueprint through which reality is constructed, and by understanding this code, you gain access to consciously interact with the creative power of the universe. You are not a passive recipient of reality, you are an active participant, an agent of change, and that the potential to shape your own experience is directly accessible to you. It's the understanding that you are not just a wave, but also the ocean. This isn't just intellectual understanding, it is the pathway to embodying your true potential, and therefore consciously shaping your reality. It's the understanding that this isn't some external force to be controlled, but your own intrinsic ability to shape the world from the inside out. So let's bring all of this together and see what it truly means for you, the individual. The realization that you are an integral part of this divine field, where the very essence of God resides, shifts the focus from external authority to the internal power that you possess. This realization puts you in the driver's seat and gives you a new sense of responsibility as you navigate your life and create your reality. This shift from external authority to your own inherent divinity is the key to unlocking your true potential, and this is not just about understanding an idea, it's about changing how you see yourself and your place in the universe. It is a shift from being passive to active, from victim to creator, which brings new meaning to the concept of free will and personal responsibility. This realization also moves you from the victim mentality to the understanding that you are the creator of your own experience. You are no longer at the mercy of external circumstances, but an active participant in shaping the very events of your life. The universe is not something that happens to you, but something that happens through you, and this realization is very empowering. This understanding frees you from the constraints of external circumstances and places you in the driver's seat of your own life. This is the path to unlocking your true potential, your inherent ability to co-create reality, which means that you are no longer a victim of circumstances, but the master of your own fate. This shift is not about blame or shame, it's about recognizing your power and taking responsibility for what you create. And what is the responsibility that comes with realizing that you are an expression of this creative source? This recognition requires that you act as an active participant in shaping your reality, not passively accepting what comes your way. As you come to understand your power, you must understand that your every thought, feeling, and action contributes to the fabric of your experience. This responsibility isn't a burden. It's an empowering call to become more aware of how you interact with the world. It's a call to step into your role as co-creator and to shape the reality you wish to see. You are not just a subject, but an agent of change, and this responsibility should be embraced. And so, accessing and applying the quantum code isn't just about intellectual understanding, but about personal transformation. This isn't just some esoteric idea, but a practical approach to change your life, and is the path to truly realizing your full potential. Through consistent action, through conscious choice, through mindful observation, you begin to transform your life by living in alignment with your true nature as co-creators of reality. This understanding is more than just a theory. It's a practical guide to unlocking the immense power that resides within you, and this is the path to becoming the master of your own experience, to consciously shaping the world around you. You are no longer a passive observer. You are the very creator of your reality, and this understanding will change the way you move through the world. It is time to step into your role as co-creator and begin living in alignment with your true nature. But how do you embody this knowledge? How do you make this your lived reality? We will explore that in the next section, but for now, realize that you are the source, and the path has always been here. So, if you're beginning to grasp the idea that you're not separate from the divine, and that your awareness shapes reality, let's explore how deeply this plays out in your everyday experiences. What if the very things you believe are shaping your physical health, your life outcomes, and even the events that seem completely outside of your control? Consider the placebo effect, a phenomenon that demonstrates the profound power of belief. Imagine you're in a clinical trial for a new medication, but unbeknownst to you, you're given a sugar pill, a completely inert substance. Yet, if you believe that this pill will alleviate your symptoms, your body responds as if it were a real medicine, reducing pain, improving mood, or even accelerating the healing process. This isn't just a trick of the mind. It's a measurable, physiological change triggered solely by your belief in the treatment. It's your expectation that is directly affecting your body. Think about the countless stories of people experiencing relief from chronic pain, reduced anxiety, and improved physical function, all thanks to the power of their belief in an inert substance. The placebo effect isn't just a scientific curiosity, but a profound revelation about the intimate connection between your beliefs and the very state of your physical being. This is not just a mind trick, but the very mechanics of how your mind affects your body. Now, let's look at the flip side of this coin, the nocebo effect. What if your negative expectations are equally as powerful, but in the opposite direction? Imagine being told that a medication has a long list of side effects, and even if the medication itself is harmless, you might start experiencing those very symptoms, from headaches and nausea to fatigue and pain. The nocebo effect reveals how our negative beliefs and expectations can manifest as real physical discomfort. It's the shadow of the placebo effect, illustrating how your negative beliefs can create negative experiences. It isn't a coincidence that medical professionals have been warned to not tell patients all the potential side effects of medications, as this knowledge in itself might cause them to experience these same side effects, even when the body is not physiologically reacting to them, thus further demonstrating that your thoughts are creating your reality. This is an important point to understand because your body is constantly responding to your beliefs, whether conscious or not, and understanding this dynamic is the first step to take control of it. This means that you are not only shaping your experiences, but also the very biology of your body. And what does the scientific community say about all this? What if the placebo and nocebo effects are not just anecdotal occurrences, but powerful, measurable phenomena? Numerous scientific studies have shown that the placebo effect is not merely a psychological trick, but a genuine physiological response that can be measured in the brain, in the immune system, and even at a cellular level. Brain scans, for instance, show that when someone believes they're receiving a pain-relieving treatment, their brains release natural painkillers. Similarly, research shows that negative beliefs and expectations, the nocebo effect, can trigger a stress response in the body, which weakens the immune system and increases pain perception. These effects are not limited to subjective feelings, but are directly correlated with measurable biological changes. This scientific evidence is not just fascinating, it's crucial because it highlights that the way you think isn't separate from the way your body functions. The physical body is directly responsive to what you believe. The placebo and nocebo effects are not just interesting quirks of psychology, but direct evidence of the mind's influence over the body. Therefore, what if the placebo and nocebo effects are not just isolated occurrences, but the very mechanism by which your beliefs are shaping your entire reality? If a simple belief in a sugar pill can trigger significant physical changes, Imagine the power of deeply ingrained, unconscious beliefs that you hold about yourself, your abilities, and the nature of the world around you. The placebo and nocebo effects show the direct correlation between belief and experience, and that your beliefs are not just thoughts, but the very architects of your reality. This means that you are not a passive recipient of your life, but an active co-creator, and your inner world is not separate from the outer, but a direct reflection of it. Recognizing the power of your beliefs is the first step towards consciously shaping your life experiences. It's like realizing that you have the paintbrush and the canvas, and that you are free to create any reality that you choose. Understanding the interplay between belief and reality reveals that you are in control. Now, let's talk about how to consciously use this understanding to transform your life. What if you could actively identify and change the limiting beliefs that have been holding you back? What if by consciously shifting these limiting beliefs, you can create a more positive, more empowering reality? You have the capacity to observe the patterns, the habitual ways of thinking, and the unconscious assumptions that form your current experience. The key is to become aware of these limiting beliefs and replace them with empowering ones. This process of transformation is not about self-deception, but about reprogramming your inner operating system by moving from negative self-talk to positive affirmation, and from a state of lack to a state of abundance. This is a conscious process of self-reprogramming that requires intention, attention, and consistent action. It means becoming the observer of your inner world and challenging the self-imposed limitations that have been keeping you from embodying your full potential, thus actively participating in the co-creation of your life. And how do you connect this to the creative force within you? What if your intention, coupled with strong belief, is the driving force behind all manifestation? Intention is the deliberate focus of your attention, a conscious choice to direct your energy towards a desired outcome. And when coupled with a strong belief, this intention becomes a powerful creative force, which shapes your reality. It's like aiming an arrow with unwavering focus. The clearer your intention, the more direct the path to your goal. When you combine intention with a deep sense of knowing, a strong belief in the inevitability of the outcome, the manifestation process accelerates, moving you from potential to reality. This process is not wishful thinking, but a conscious effort to direct your energy in a specific direction. This is a very powerful dynamic that gives you access to shape your reality by becoming the master of your inner world. It's like the quantum principle of observation collapsing the wave. Your intention is the act of observation, and your belief is what shapes the form. And how does this all relate to the law of attraction? What if this law is not a magical force, but a reflection of your core beliefs and feelings? The law of attraction is often misunderstood as simply thinking positive thoughts, but it is much more than that. It is the understanding that what you experience is a direct reflection of what you believe and feel. It's not about attracting what you want, but about attracting what you are. If you feel lack, you attract more lack. If you feel abundance, you attract more abundance. It is about aligning yourself with the desired outcome. This law, therefore, isn't some external force to be harnessed, but a natural consequence of the underlying creative principle. It's not about attracting things, but about resonating with what you desire, changing your inner state to match what you wish to manifest. This ties directly into our earlier discussions about the quantum field, where all possibilities exist, and you select the outcome based on what you align with. Therefore, what if your personal reality is not something that happens to you, but something that is created by you? If the placebo and nocebo effects reveal that your beliefs shape your physical body, and your intentions guide your actions, then your personal reality is simply a reflection of your inner world, a culmination of the beliefs, feelings, and intentions that you hold. You are not a passive observer, but the active co-creator of your own experiences. This understanding is not meant to be a source of blame, but of empowerment. It moves you from the role of victim to that of creator, giving you the responsibility of shaping the reality that you wish to experience. It is a deep realization that your life is not a series of random events, but the direct manifestation of your own consciousness. It's a call to claim your power and to step into the role of a deliberate creator of your life, realizing that you are the artist and your life is the masterpiece. Now, let's explore the seemingly paranormal and how it actually reinforces the idea that you are the co-creator of your reality. What if psychic abilities, lucid dreams, and even near-death experiences are not supernatural, but rather natural manifestations of your interconnected consciousness, just as science is starting to discover? Imagine the possibility that abilities such as telepathy or clairvoyance are not some mystical gifts, but natural expressions of your awareness, an inherent potential available to everyone, not just a select few. Your consciousness is not confined to your physical brain, but extends into the unified field of all consciousness, a field where the boundaries of individual awareness begin to dissolve. Therefore, psychic abilities are nothing more than your capacity to tap into this field, accessing information beyond the limitations of your five senses. These phenomena are not supernatural, they're simply natural extensions of your human potential, which can be consciously developed through practice. These are further indications that we are all expressions of one consciousness. And what about the experience of lucid dreaming? What if this state of conscious awareness within a dream is a direct experience of your capacity to shape reality? Lucid dreaming is not just a fun mental exercise. It is a powerful demonstration of your ability to manipulate the fabric of reality. In a lucid dream, you become aware that you're dreaming, and as such you gain control over your actions and the events within the dream, manipulating the environment as you please. This is a direct experience of how consciousness can shape reality, revealing that your waking reality may not be as fixed as you think, as the boundaries of what's real start to become blurry. Lucid dreaming can be an important tool for personal exploration and transformation, as the limitations of the physical world do not apply in this realm. It's like training your creative muscles, showing you what is possible when you understand the power of your own consciousness to shape your own experience. And how does this tie in with near-death experiences? What if the experiences reported by people during NDEs are not some mystical hallucination, but rather a glimpse into the true nature of consciousness? Many people who have reported NDEs speak of a state of pure awareness, of being outside of their physical bodies, and of experiencing heightened senses that are not usually available in the waking state. These experiences challenge the notion that consciousness is limited to the brain, and show that awareness continues to exist even when the physical body is no longer functional. Many people describe that during an NDE, they experienced a sense of deep interconnectedness with all things, which strongly supports the ideas that we have been exploring, that all reality is a unified field of consciousness, beyond the limits of time and space. This experience further supports that the true nature of consciousness is not limited to the brain, but is an infinite, all-encompassing field, the same field from which all of reality emerges. And how does all of this relate to the idea of interconnectedness? What if all these seemingly disparate phenomena, psychic abilities, lucid dreams, near-death experiences are all interconnected, all pointing to a unified field of consciousness? All of these phenomena are the manifestation of the underlying interconnectedness of all things. Psychic abilities show that consciousness extends beyond the individual. Lucid dreaming shows that consciousness is the shaper of reality, and NDEs show that consciousness is not limited to the physical body. These experiences show that the boundaries between individual consciousness are illusory, that all of reality is interconnected, and that all of these experiences are manifestations of a single, unified field. Therefore, the separation between one person and another, between one place and another, is just an illusion, and this further strengthens the idea of a unified consciousness that is the foundation of all existence, which ties directly to the quantum principle of entanglement that we have already explored. Now, let's explore an even more dramatic manifestation of the power of consciousness. Poltergeist phenomena. What if these seemingly inexplicable events are actually unconscious manifestations of deeply suppressed emotions? Poltergeist activity, with its moving objects, strange noises, and unexplained occurrences, has often been dismissed as mere superstition. But what if these are not random events, but a direct expression of the unconscious mind's power to shape the environment? Poltergeist phenomena often occur around individuals experiencing intense emotional turmoil, particularly suppressed anger and fear. The repressed energy doesn't simply vanish. It manifests itself in the physical realm, affecting the environment around them. The objects move, the noises manifest, not because some external entity is involved, but because the suppressed energy is so powerful that it begins to shape the physical world itself. This isn't some supernatural occurrence, but a demonstration of how your unconscious mind can create what you experience. And how does the connection between emotional states and physical manifestation work? What if these poltergeist phenomena are a direct reflection of your suppressed emotional states? When you experience strong emotions, particularly negative ones like anger or fear, and you suppress them, they don't just disappear. They act as a powerful force, an intense energy which seeks expression. If this energy is not channeled consciously, it can find an outlet in the external world, manifesting as poltergeist phenomena. These events aren't random. They are a direct reflection of the internal emotional landscape of the person experiencing them. It's as if the unconscious is communicating through physical effects, and this is not just something that occurs to other people. It is something that can occur to anyone, as we all carry unconscious patterns and unresolved emotions. It is the inner world creating the outer world. And what does this say about the solution to this? What if the key to ending poltergeist activity is not some external intervention, but a process of inner reflection and self-awareness? The solution isn't to call ghost hunters or exorcists. It's to address the underlying emotional turmoil. Poltergeist activity is not something that needs to be fought, but understood, as it is nothing more than a physical reflection of an inner emotional conflict. By becoming aware of your unconscious emotional patterns and addressing the suppressed energy, the poltergeist activity stops, thus demonstrating that even these dramatic events are evidence of the intimate connection between your inner and outer world. It's not about getting rid of the poltergeist, but about understanding its message. It's about looking within and addressing what is creating the experience in the first place, and this reinforces that external events are a reflection of the internal states of awareness. Therefore, what do these poltergeist phenomena tell you about the nature of reality? What if these seemingly inexplicable events are further proof that consciousness is the foundation of all of reality? Poltergeist phenomena highlight that the unconscious mind, just like the conscious mind, has the capacity to shape the environment, thereby emphasizing that your internal world is the foundation of all your external experiences. Even these manifestations are evidence of the quantum code, the mechanics of how consciousness interacts with reality, which confirms that reality is not fixed but fluid, and that awareness is the primary force in the unfolding of all events. This further solidifies that the universe is nothing more than a manifestation of a unified field of consciousness, of which you are an integral part. It is the understanding that even what appears to be external, random, and chaotic is actually directly tied to your inner state. So, let's bring all of this together. The placebo and nocebo effects reveal the power of your beliefs. Psychic abilities, lucid dreams, and NDEs reveal the interconnected nature of consciousness. And poltergeist phenomena highlight the ability of the unconscious mind to shape physical reality. All of these experiences are interconnected, demonstrating the underlying truth that consciousness is the foundation of all existence, the key to unlocking the quantum code. This is not just about understanding a concept, but a profound shift in your perception of how your personal reality is created. These phenomena, therefore, are not just interesting occurrences, but the very mechanics of how consciousness interacts with the world around you. It's the understanding that reality is not fixed, but fluid, and it responds to your intentions, feelings, and beliefs, both conscious and unconscious. Now, what does this all mean for you? The understanding that you have the capacity to shape your reality opens the doors to an entirely new way of living. You are not at the mercy of external circumstances. You are a powerful co-creator of your own destiny, and this realization alone can empower you to take responsibility for your own experience. What you experience is, therefore, a direct reflection of your inner world, and the key to transforming your life lies in recognizing this connection and taking conscious control of your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. This isn't a passive understanding, but a call to action to take charge of your life, your health, and your experience of the world, therefore stepping into the role of co-creator. This also ties back to the idea that you are God, the source of all creation. But how do you actively use this knowledge and put this understanding into action to actively shape the reality that you wish to experience? How do you take the next step into consciously creating a life aligned with your true potential? The next section will go deeper into the practical application of all of these concepts, revealing how to use the quantum code consciously. But for now, understand that you are not separate from the source of all creation, that your awareness is the key, and that the path to your liberation has always been here. So, if your beliefs are shaping your reality, and your intention acts as a guiding force, how do you consciously access this power to create the life that you truly desire? What if the key to shaping your experience is not about striving or struggling, but about intentionally choosing the reality that you wish to embody and acting from that space? The first step is understanding that your conscious awareness is the most powerful tool at your disposal. It's not enough to simply think about what you want. You must actively inhabit the state of already having it. Think of a movie director who has a complete vision for their film. They see the scene as complete, even before it has been filmed, and this vision guides their choices, their direction, and their actions. They aren't wishing for a certain outcome. They are acting from the space of knowing that it's already complete. In the same way, you can intentionally create your reality by choosing to live from the perspective of your desired outcome, and by aligning your inner state with the manifestation. This isn't about forcing things to happen, but about aligning with the reality that already exists within the infinite possibilities of the quantum field, and by observing the way that reality unfolds in your life. And how do you consciously begin to shape your own self-perception? What if the words you use to define yourself are the very blueprint of your reality? Consider the power of I am affirmations, those simple yet profound statements that directly declare your state of being, because I am is the very essence of existence, that which defines your state. I am statements aren't just positive self-talk. They're a powerful way of directing your consciousness, the very foundation of your experience. And when you use these statements, you're not just making a declaration, but creating a new possibility. If your current self-perception is limited by thoughts of I am not good enough, I am unworthy, then your reality will reflect that back to you. But if you declare I am capable, I am abundant, I am loved, these statements become the structure of your experience, shifting your self-perception and your reality. Your words have the power to shape the reality that you experience, and when you consciously use them, you gain the power to redefine your existence. But how do you move from stating affirmations to actually embodying the reality that you desire? What if it's not enough to simply visualize a goal, but to fully inhabit the feelings, the emotions, and the sensations of already having achieved it? It's not enough to think about being healthy, wealthy, or successful. You must embody the feeling of already being healthy, wealthy, or successful. When you embody that reality, it moves from being an abstract concept to a concrete experience. This means creating a mental and emotional reality that aligns with your desires, merging intention, belief, and emotional state, moving from thought to feeling and sensation. Think of acting as if you are already the person that you want to be, and then making the actions that that person would make. And as you start to embody that person, your external reality will begin to reflect that change. The external world is always a reflection of your internal state, so embody your ideal self, and that state of being will be the new foundation of your reality. And what is the connection between this conscious creation and the quantum code? What if the act of embodying your desired reality is the very process of applying this code to manifest your intentions into tangible experiences? This process of embodying your ideal state is not just a psychological trick, but the practical application of the quantum code, where your consciousness becomes a powerful force that can collapse quantum possibilities into tangible experiences. This is where science meets the metaphysical, as the power of your consciousness is what makes your intentions a reality. The understanding of quantum physics is just the beginning of the journey, and it's only when you add your belief, your intention, and the emotional charge behind it that you consciously activate your own creative powers. It's the feeling that acts as the driving force that moves intentions into reality. Your feelings are the code that activates your intentions into being. Now that you understand the power of your intentions, let's explore the importance of mastering your inner world. What if your emotions, when left unchecked, are actually shaping your reality in ways that you don't even realize? It's important to understand that your emotions are not just something that happens to you, but are powerful forces that shape your experience. If your emotions are running wild without your conscious awareness, they can shape your reality in an unconscious way, creating unwanted results. By becoming aware of your emotions, you gain control of their influence, making you the master of your inner world. You must observe your emotions without judgment, understanding them as energetic patterns, as waves moving through your system, and once you've understood their patterns, you then have the capacity to direct that energy consciously. This awareness is the key to take control, giving you the power to shape your reality intentionally. Therefore, emotional awareness is not just about understanding your feelings, but about understanding that these feelings are the very forces that shape your world. And how do you start to heal your past wounds? What if your inner child is not just a metaphor, but a representation of your past experiences that continue to shape your present reality? Your inner child is a part of you that embodies your past experiences, your past joys, your past hurts, and those experiences, if left unaddressed, continue to influence your current state of being. Therefore, healing those past wounds becomes essential to transforming deeply ingrained emotional patterns, the patterns that are creating unwanted outcomes in your life. When you approach your past with compassion and you understand the needs of your inner child, you'll move beyond the limitations of past programming, therefore, creating a solid foundation for a new reality that is no longer defined by those past experiences. The act of healing the inner child is a conscious way to rewrite the patterns of your past and to allow yourself to experience the full range of your potential. And how do you break free from the limitations of your past programming? What if the key is not to accept those limiting beliefs as your ultimate truth, but to question them and to choose to replace them with more empowering ones? The act of self-inquiry is the first step to challenging these self-imposed constructs, those ideas that you have accepted about yourself and your potential. It's important to start asking yourself questions like, is this belief really true? Where did this belief originate? Does it serve me? And what belief would empower me more? By questioning your limiting beliefs, you reveal the patterns that are keeping you stuck, and then you're able to replace them with a new foundation. For example, a belief like, I am not worthy of love, can be challenged by asking, is this really true? Or is this an old wound from my past? And then you can choose to replace it with a more empowering belief, like, I am worthy of love, just as I am. This active process of self-inquiry empowers you to dismantle the limiting beliefs that are keeping you from experiencing your full potential. So how does mastering your inner world relate to the quantum code? What if the journey of self-mastery is the very process of applying this code to create the reality that you wish to experience? This journey to freedom from limitations comes through internal awareness, highlighting that the power of manifestation is not an external force, but a result of internal mastery. As you become the master of your own emotions, and you transform your limiting beliefs, you gain a deeper understanding of the quantum code and the way that your consciousness interacts with reality. You start to realize that this code isn't something to be deciphered, but something to be experienced, embodied, and activated through self-awareness. The more you master your inner world, the more effectively you use this code to create your outer world. It is through this inner work that your intentions gain the power to manifest, thus showing the direct correlation between inner mastery and the ability to consciously shape your reality. Now, let's explore a concept that might seem far-fetched, but which can offer you a new perspective on the nature of reality itself: the simulation hypothesis. What if this idea that reality is a simulation is actually a powerful metaphor for understanding how your consciousness shapes the world you perceive? This idea that we're living in a simulation is just a conceptual analogy for understanding that your reality is built from your awareness, and the point is not to determine if we live in a literal simulation, but to understand that your reality is shaped by your perceptions and beliefs. Think about the movie, The Matrix, which presents a world that is not what it seems. The characters in that movie are living in a simulated reality while believing it to be real. This is a powerful metaphor for the way we experience our lives, because it highlights how your perceptions filter your experience of reality. Your perceptions and beliefs are your personal code that shapes the simulation. And how does this simulation relate to the idea of a shared reality? What if your experience of reality is like a shared dream, where individual consciousnesses are co-creating the collective experience? Imagine if each individual consciousness acts as a projector and the collective experience is the screen. Then your beliefs and emotions act as filters that shape the shared experience. The concept of a shared dream highlights the deep interconnectedness of all consciousness and how each person is playing a role in shaping the reality that we all experience, which is another demonstration of the non-dualistic perspective we've been exploring. The simulation is created from the individual awareness, but it's also shaped by the collective agreement that creates the consensus reality. Therefore, by shifting your individual awareness, you contribute to the transformation of the whole. And if reality is like a simulation, what are the implications of this perspective? What if the limitations that you experience are not fixed laws of nature, but self-imposed constructs that you have the power to change? Since your reality is a construct of awareness, then the rules are not fixed. They can be bent or broken, and this understanding opens up the possibility for experiences that seem impossible from a conventional perspective. Think about spontaneous healing, seemingly impossible manifestations, or other anomalies that challenge the current laws of physics. These events start to seem less mysterious when you understand that reality is fluid. Therefore, if these limits are self-imposed, then they can be broken when you consciously understand the mechanics of this reality. The power to shift the rules exists within you. So how does the understanding of this simulation tie back to the quantum code? What if this code is the key to understand how the simulation works, giving you the ability to influence its very structure? The quantum code isn't just about understanding quantum physics, but about understanding the way that consciousness interacts with the fabric of reality. It's the key to hacking the system by becoming aware of the mechanisms of creation itself. This isn't about manipulating an external reality, but about changing your internal code to experience a different outcome. When you understand how the simulation is built from your awareness, you gain the potential to influence its parameters, moving from a passive observer to an active creator. This awareness is your access to the source code of your reality. And what is the role of the collective consciousness in all of this? What if shared beliefs are shaping not only your personal experiences, but also the global events of your time? Your individual awareness is always interconnected with the collective, which means that even the most subtle of your thoughts and emotions influence the collective field of consciousness. Your individual reality is a reflection of the collective, and vice versa. Think about how fear, anger, or even hope spreads through the collective like a contagion, thus reinforcing that shared beliefs can become self-fulfilling prophecies. Therefore, if you want to change the world, you must begin with yourself by shifting the beliefs that are creating those experiences. And how do you free yourself from the negative programming that keeps you stuck? What if the first step is to recognize the limiting beliefs that have been installed by society, culture, and other external influences, and to consciously choose what beliefs you'll hold? The programming that is running the collective reality relies on passivity, on the belief that you have no control. But when you become aware of these collective patterns, you begin to see their limitations. This awareness gives you the power to reject those self-defeating beliefs and to start consciously shaping your own experience. You must question everything, including social norms, political narratives, and cultural conditioning, because these systems rely on your passivity to maintain power. Freeing yourself from the collective programming is the first step towards reclaiming your own individual power. And how can your individual actions contribute to transforming the collective reality? What if by consciously choosing new intentions and embodying your desires, you can actually influence the whole? When you consciously apply the quantum code, you not only transform your personal reality, but contribute to the transformation of the whole. Think about how individuals throughout history have collectively shifted cultural paradigms, not by forcing their beliefs on others, but by embodying a new vision. Your choices and your actions matter. By applying the principles of the quantum code, you create a ripple effect through the collective field, moving it towards more positive outcomes. So how does this all tie back to the quantum code? What if the true power of this code is not just for your personal transformation, but also a tool to create a more harmonious and conscious world? The quantum code is not just about personal manifestation. It's a tool to create a reality that benefits all, because understanding the interconnectedness of all things means that the power of consciousness is also a shared power. Your transformation contributes to the transformation of the whole. This isn't just a nice idea. It's a recognition of our collective responsibility to participate in the conscious co-creation of a more harmonious world. Through this understanding, you become a conscious agent of change, not just for yourself, but for everyone. Now, let's take a moment to integrate all of these ideas. You've learned about the power of intention, the importance of emotional regulation, the transformation of limiting beliefs, and the interconnectedness of personal and collective reality, and that the quantum code is the key to all of it. You have been introduced to practical tools that allow you to activate your ability to consciously shape your reality. And when you combine all these elements, you start to gain a deeper understanding of the way that reality works. The journey of mastering the quantum code is not a passive one, but a call to actively participate in the conscious creation of your reality and of the collective reality. But what if there's an even deeper level of understanding? What if everything we've discussed so far is just a preparation for an even more profound realization of your true nature, and that requires a complete shift in your perception of yourself and the nature of reality? The next step is not just about changing your life, but experiencing a radical transformation of your being. We've just been scratching the surface of your potential. It's time to dive into the depths of your true self. And how does this all relate back to you being God? What if your understanding of the quantum code is actually a roadmap towards the full realization of your inherent divinity? You're not just a co-creator. You are the very source of creation itself. The journey from limitation to freedom, from passivity to power, has always been within you. The next section is where you realize the ultimate implications of understanding the quantum code, and where you finally take your place as the powerful being that you have always been. The ultimate transformation is waiting, and it is about to begin. So, if this reality is indeed like a simulation, a construct shaped by your consciousness, then how does this understanding become a practical tool for transforming your everyday life? What if the concept of a simulation isn't just a far-fetched theory, but a functional model for understanding how your beliefs, perceptions, and intentions create your individual experience? This isn't about proving whether the world is a literal simulation. It's about recognizing that your personal reality is a construct that you are continuously building, moment by moment. The simulation acts as a powerful metaphor, allowing you to understand the mechanisms by which your consciousness shapes your world. It's not a limitation, but a framework that clarifies how your inner world is projected outwards and how you are always creating your experience through the quantum code. And therefore you are the programmer of this personal simulation, not a passive observer. And how do your personal beliefs act as the very code that shapes your individual simulation? What if your core beliefs are the unwritten rules that dictate the parameters of your reality? Therefore, the quantum code is nothing more than your personal belief system. Your deeply held beliefs, whether conscious or subconscious, function as the underlying code that programs the experiences you encounter. So your belief system is the very foundation of your personal reality. This means that everything you experience, from your relationships to your career, from your health to your overall happiness, is directly influenced by these underlying programs. Like a computer code creates a program, your belief system creates your reality. And with the understanding of the quantum code, you can now consciously manipulate these parameters. Think about how someone with the core belief of "I'm not good enough" consistently attracts experiences that reflect that feeling, or someone who believes they are abundant creates opportunities that reflect that sense of prosperity. This code isn't deterministic. It is a set of parameters that you choose to engage with at every moment, and therefore the power to transform this simulation is in your hands. But if your beliefs are the code, what happens when you start to question the very rules of this simulation? What if the laws of reality, as you know them, are actually flexible and dependent on your level of awareness, and that these laws can be bent and even broken? The laws that you perceive as fixed are not external limitations, but rather self-imposed constructs. Therefore, the limitations that you experience are not absolute, but are shaped by your perception. And when you recognize that they can be altered, then you gain the power to transform them. Think about the placebo effect, where a belief in a treatment, even if it's a sugar pill, can produce measurable results, defying the conventional laws of medicine. Or consider the concept of spontaneous healing, where a radical shift in perception can result in a sudden recovery from an illness that was supposed to be incurable. These examples begin to show that those laws are not as fixed as you may believe, and that your consciousness has the capacity to move beyond the limitations of your current perception. By consciously changing your beliefs and your perception, you start to bend the rules of the simulation and consciously shape your experience. And how does the quantum code relate to this inner understanding of the simulation? What if this code is actually the source code that governs the parameters of your personal reality, and that once understood, it gives you the ability to control your experience? The quantum code is the foundational understanding of the very mechanics of creation, a bridge between the invisible potential and the tangible experience. When you start to understand how the simulation is created, you begin to see that the source code is the same as your consciousness, which is the awareness of your own being, and therefore you become the programmer of your own experience, consciously creating your own reality. The universe isn't happening to you, it is happening through you. This means that you're no longer a passive observer of this simulation, but the very creator of it, thus empowering you to shape your reality to your liking. Your mind is not a tool to navigate reality. It's the very source of reality. So the quantum code is the key to unlocking your full creative potential. Now that you understand that your personal simulation is shaped by your consciousness, How does this new awareness open you up to limitless possibilities? What if, within this framework, there are no inherent limitations to what you can create, and the only barriers are the ones that you set for yourself? The very nature of your being is a creative one, and when you recognize this power of your inner space, you realize that the limitations of this reality are not real, but perceived. Think of the countless examples throughout history of seemingly impossible manifestations that have occurred, from the stories of yogis who could levitate to the tales of healers who could spontaneously heal incurable conditions. These events are not just stories, but potential glimpses of a reality where anything is possible when one is acting from their own potential, and you have the same capacity within you. The only real barrier is your own disbelief and limiting perceptions, and when you move beyond those limitations, you open the door to a life of infinite possibilities. And how do you move beyond the self-imposed rules of the game? What if the perceived limitations within this simulation are not inherent but chosen, and that by understanding the quantum code, you can consciously move beyond them? The limitations you perceive within this simulation are not fixed boundaries, but constructs that you have accepted as real, and that can be transformed. When you realize that you're not bound by external rules, but by your own perceptions, you start to access the true source of power that exists within you. Think about the stories of people who overcame seemingly insurmountable obstacles, or broke world records, or even healed from terminal illnesses. Those are not miracles, they are a testament to the power of human potential. When you embody the understanding of the quantum code, and how your consciousness interacts with the fabric of reality, you realize that the limitations you experience are not set in stone. They are just beliefs that can be altered by your will. You have the power to reshape your reality, to redefine the boundaries of possibility, and to move beyond the self-imposed rules of the simulation. And how does understanding your role as the ultimate authority impact your view of external power structures? What if, in this framework, external authorities, whether political, religious, or societal, lose their power because you are the ultimate authority in your own experience, and your personal freedom comes from this understanding? This understanding of the simulation reveals that external authority is just a construct, a set of beliefs that people have agreed to uphold, and when you recognize that your power comes from within, then you begin to free yourself from any external control. Think about how many people throughout history have challenged societal norms and refused to follow the dictates of those in power, choosing to live from their own inner truth. They understood, consciously or unconsciously, that their power came from their personal authority. When you realize that you are the source of your own reality, then you also understand that no one has the authority over you, unless you give them that power. You are free to define your own destiny, and this is where the no BS approach of this video comes in, because the truth lies within you. And how does understanding the quantum code, as the key to manipulating the simulation, open you up to new levels of experience? What if by applying this code, you move beyond the perceived limitations of this reality and open yourself to infinite possibilities? The quantum code is not just a set of theoretical principles, but the practical application of your consciousness to create the experience that you desire, and it's through the mastery of this code that you transcend the limitations of the simulation. This realization opens you up to boundless experience and gives you access to potentials that you never imagined possible. The limitations that you experience are just self-imposed parameters, and when you consciously choose to see beyond them, you unlock new levels of creative power. By engaging this code, you begin to recognize the infinite possibilities that are always available to you. And this isn't just about changing your external world. It's about experiencing the full spectrum of your being and the unlimited potential that is inherent to your nature. But with such immense power to shape your reality, what responsibilities does this awareness bring? What if the ability to manifest your desires comes with an ethical dimension, and your actions always have an impact on the whole field of consciousness. This realization that you can influence your reality with your thoughts and intentions comes with the responsibility to act consciously, because the choices that you make not only shape your experience, but also contribute to the collective reality. Every belief, every intention, every action is a creative act that shapes your experience, and when you fully grasp that power, you must also realize that you are always impacting the entire field of consciousness. Think of the idea that a butterfly flapping its wings can cause a hurricane on the other side of the world, which is a useful analogy for the ripple effect that your actions have on the collective field. This power to shape reality comes with the understanding that you're not separate from the whole, and that every choice you make has an effect on the entire system. And how do your personal choices and actions create ripples in the collective field? What if each choice is not an isolated event, but an action that reverberates throughout the entire field of consciousness, thus reinforcing your connection to everyone else? Your personal choices are not just private experiences, they send ripples throughout the entire system, much like a stone dropped into a pond creates waves. Your thoughts, your feelings, your intentions, all have an impact on the world around you and on the collective awareness. Think about how a simple act of kindness can inspire others to act kindly, or how an act of anger can provoke more anger in a cycle of violence. The idea that you're interconnected with everyone else means that when you choose to shift your consciousness, you also influence the collective consciousness in subtle ways that have profound impacts. This awareness highlights the need to act from a place of conscious understanding, and to understand that your actions always matter, because we're all connected. But how can you move beyond selfish manifestations and use your power for the benefit of all? What if true empowerment lies not in using this power for personal gain, but in creating a world where everyone thrives, so that individual liberation also means the liberation of the collective? True mastery of the quantum code comes when you recognize that your personal liberation is not isolated, it's linked to the liberation of everyone, and that when you focus your power solely on yourself, you're missing the bigger picture. The real challenge comes from using this power to create a world that benefits everyone, where compassion, understanding, and love become the driving forces. Think about the concept of a world where everyone feels safe, valued, and loved, a world where abundance is available to all, and where every action is taken for the highest good. That's where your individual empowerment aligns with the liberation of the whole, and this is the path of conscious co-creation. And how does the quantum code act as a path to collective liberation? What if the true purpose of this code isn't just for personal transformation, but for the upliftment of all humanity, and that the mastery of this code comes with the responsibility to use it to create a better world? The true understanding of the quantum code comes with the recognition that you're always connected to everyone else, and therefore your transformation is the transformation of the whole. The power to shape reality is not just for your personal benefit, but for the creation of a reality where everyone can flourish. Think about how people through history have used their abilities to uplift humanity, to heal divisions, and to create a more harmonious world. And all of these actions have stemmed from the deeper understanding of the interconnectedness of all consciousness. When you use this code from a place of compassion, and you recognize that you're creating for the highest good of all, you contribute to the liberation of the collective, making sure that your actions are aligned with the highest purpose. Now that you understand that you're the programmer of your personal simulation, and that this simulation is not an end in itself, but an experience, how does this new awareness open you up to the potential for transcendence? What if this mastery of the quantum code is not just about shaping your reality, but also a path for transcending the simulation altogether, therefore understanding that this reality is not the only reality? When you begin to comprehend the way that reality is created, you begin to understand that the limitations you experience are also not real, and that through this understanding, you can begin to transcend the limitations of the known. and open yourself to new realms of experience. Think of the stories of spiritual masters who have transcended the limitations of this physical realm and experienced a level of understanding that is beyond ordinary human comprehension, which is an indication that the simulation is not the only reality. When you master this quantum code, you start to understand that you're not just a player within this game, but also the consciousness that is experiencing the game. And how can you expand the boundaries of your awareness beyond the confines of this simulation? What if there are other dimensions of experience that you can access when you understand that your perception is not limited to this reality, and when you begin to see that there is so much more? The limitations that you perceive are not fixed boundaries, but constructs that are built through your awareness, and that this simulation is not the only possibility. And therefore, when you recognize the limits of human perception, you open up the possibility of expanding your awareness beyond the ordinary. Think about the accounts of people who had near-death experiences and have reported visiting other dimensions that exist beyond this physical realm. They begin to show how the simulation is not the only possibility for consciousness. By allowing yourself to explore the limits of your perception, and by questioning everything that you believe to be true, you open yourself to new possibilities, and you begin to see that there is so much more to reality than what you can perceive with your five senses. And how does this potential for transcendence link back to your understanding of your true nature? What if the ultimate hack of the simulation is the recognition that you're not just a player in this game, but the very source of the consciousness that creates and experiences it, and that once you understand this truth, you transcend the game itself? The recognition that you are the I am that creates reality is the ultimate form of liberation. When you understand that you're the consciousness itself, then you move beyond the limitations of the simulation, and you begin to experience the fullness of your true nature. This is not just a theoretical concept, it's the direct experience of your divinity, the understanding that God is not something out there, but is your own pure awareness. By fully understanding this truth, you transcend the limitations of the game itself. And finally, how does the understanding of the quantum code guide you towards liberation? What if the true purpose of this code is not just about shaping this reality, but about guiding you towards the freedom of the simulation and the realization that you are God? The quantum code is not just a set of instructions to manipulate your external reality. It's also a guide to unlock the deeper truth of your being. And when you master this code, you understand that you're not just a creator, but the very source of creation. By understanding that you're more than the game, you transcend the limitations of the game. When you understand the power that lies within you, you also realize that you are one with the source of creation itself. The quantum code is the key to liberation. So let's recap what we've explored in this section. You've learned that the simulation is not just a theoretical concept, but a framework for understanding how your consciousness shapes your reality, and that your personal beliefs act as the very code that shapes your experience. You've also realized that your perceived limitations are not fixed, they are constructs that can be altered, and that you are the ultimate authority in your experience. And when you understand the quantum code, you not only transform your life, but also contribute to the collective evolution of consciousness. You are not a passive recipient of life, you are the source of it. But what if everything we've covered so far is just a prelude to the ultimate realization? What if the next step is not just a new understanding, but a radical transformation of your being, and that this understanding will push you towards the complete embrace of your inherent divinity? The final section will present you with the ultimate truth and practical steps to fully embody this new understanding, thus becoming the conscious creator that you are meant to be. The journey is not over, it is just about to begin. But what if the idea of even a simulation, something separate from yourself, is still a veil that keeps you from realizing your true nature? What if this construct, which we've been exploring as a framework to understand your reality, is also a limiting belief that keeps you from truly recognizing that you are the source. The very act of perceiving a simulation creates a separation, a subject observing an object, a creator and a creation, and this duality is where the final illusion lies. Even the concept of a separate self, experiencing a simulation, is the ultimate barrier to overcome. Therefore, this final step is about moving beyond the limitations of thinking of yourself as an individual being within a simulation, and to start to recognize that you are the very consciousness of it all, much like the dreamer is not separate from the dream, but is the source of the dream itself. The awareness that creates and sustains the entire experience is the same as the experiencer. And how does this sense of separation come about? What if the ego, your sense of individual identity, is the primary generator of this illusion, creating a continuous narrative of a limited self within a limited world? The ego, with its constant chatter and its incessant need for validation, perpetuates the idea that you are a separate entity, an individual, and this keeps you from recognizing that you are more than your individual story. It's like a character in a book who forgets that they are a figment of the author's imagination, and then the character starts to believe that they are real and that their world is the only world. Observing the patterns of your ego, its need to judge and compare, its fear of loss and its craving for more, reveals that it is a construct, not the true you. It is this very construct that perpetuates limiting beliefs and feelings of separation, thus creating experiences that keep you from realizing your inherent divinity. The more you believe the ego's narrative, the more you limit your own potential, the more you create unwanted experiences, and the more you distance yourself from the understanding of your true nature, which is infinite and divine. But how do you transcend the limitations of this personal simulation? What if it is necessary to consider that consciousness itself is not limited to an individual, and that awareness is universal, and that the sense of individuality is just a construct of the mind? This understanding brings us back to the concept of non-duality, the principle that all separation is an illusion, that the subject and the object, the observer and the observed, are all part of one unified consciousness. To transcend the sense of individuality means to recognize the underlying unity, the infinite ocean of consciousness that is beyond the limitations of this simulation. Just like a wave is not separate from the ocean, it is an expression of the ocean itself, and even if the wave seems to be separate for a moment, it will always return to the ocean, because it's not separate from it. It's the ocean expressing itself. This realization that the simulation is not just individual, but an experience that is part of the whole, leads to the next important point. And how does the quantum code factor into this? What if the understanding of the quantum code is not just a means of shaping personal reality, but a way to realize the underlying oneness of consciousness, and a path to understanding that separation is just an illusion? The quantum code, which we've been exploring as the mechanism for creation, is also the key to understanding that all is interconnected, that all is one consciousness expressing itself in countless forms. The understanding of the code reveals that your consciousness is not separate from the source. It is the source, which means that all the power and all the potential that you've been looking for is not outside of you, but within. And it is through the realization of this oneness, the dissolution of the idea of separation, that you come to know that you are the source, not as a concept or as a belief, but as a direct experience of your inherent nature. You are the ocean, not just the wave. And what if the ultimate revelation is not that you are part of the divine, but that you are the divine? What if the entire journey of self-discovery was actually leading you to this understanding all along, removing any remaining sense of separation from the source, and showing you that the only reason there was ever any limitation was because of the belief that you were separate? You are the very source of all creation, the infinite potential expressing itself as the individual, and this realization, which can feel both empowering and overwhelming, is the ultimate truth that the quantum code has been guiding you to. You are not a separate being seeking connection to the divine, but the divine itself, experiencing the illusion of separation and the journey of self-discovery. And when you finally understand this, the entire game changes. Your perspective shifts from that of a separate being striving to become divine to the perspective of the very source, experiencing itself in every moment, in every expression. And how does this realization transcend the conceptual understanding of God? What if this knowing is not just a belief, but a direct experience of your own nature as pure awareness, transcending all labels and definitions of God as an external entity? The true knowing of God is not through external dogma or tradition, but through the direct experience of your own consciousness, the I Am presence that exists within you, the pure awareness that is before and beyond all thought. Any remaining idea of God as an external being must be dissolved, and the focus has to move inward to the direct knowing of God as your own state of being. This isn't about faith, it's about direct knowledge, and when you connect to this truth, you realize that the divine is not a separate entity, but the very essence of who you are. It is what you are, and you always have been. And how does this I Am presence relate to your ability to create and shape reality? What if the power to manifest is not something that is given to you, but inherent in your very being, and that by claiming your I Am presence, you are claiming your true authority as the source? The I Am presence is the very foundation of your power, and when you embody this state of being, you realize that you're not just a recipient of reality, but the very source of it. The power to create is not something that is acquired through spiritual practices or external rituals. It is the inherent nature of consciousness, and by making I Am statements, you are aligning yourself to the core truth of who you are, which is the source of all creation, and your declarations aren't just words, they are the expression of your divine will. Examples such as, I am healthy, I am abundant, I am loved, are statements that express the inherent truth of your being, and therefore allow you to manifest that state into your experience in every moment. And how does the quantum code guide you to fully embody your divine nature? What if this code is not just a method to manipulate reality, but the very embodiment of your own divinity, and that the power to create is not something that you attain, but something that you unveil through the understanding of who you truly are? You are not just using the code, you are the code, which is the consciousness that creates the experience. The recognition of this truth is the path to self-realization, and when you embody this understanding, you start to live from a place of unlimited potential. By seeing yourself as the source, not as a separate being, you are no longer limited to the confines of the simulation, and you can express your infinite nature into the world, and you will live from a place of true power. And if you are the source, what happens to the limitations that you once perceived? What if this realization dissolves all remaining fears and limitations, and that the simulation is now recognized as simply a game that you created for the purpose of experiencing separation and coming back to the understanding of oneness? All fears are rooted in the illusion of separation, the belief that you are an individual, vulnerable being in a hostile world. But when you recognize that you are the source, the very fabric of reality, you also understand that there is nothing to fear. The simulation becomes a playground, a space for experiencing the infinite potentials of consciousness, knowing that you were never in danger to begin with, like a child who is afraid of the dark, and then realizes that they are the one controlling the light switch, and that they can turn on the light at any moment, and they were never really in danger. This understanding completely dissolves all limitations, replacing fear with the joy of being the conscious creator and making your choices from a place of limitless potential. And how does this awareness impact the way you experience life? What if living from the state of oneness means living authentically, from a place of pure joy and empowerment, and that you're no longer seeking validation from external sources? Therefore, the experience of freedom is available right now. Living from the knowledge that you are God means living from your true nature, expressing your authentic self, and fully embracing your potential. There is no longer the need to seek approval from others, as you have found the ultimate source of love and acceptance within yourself, and that you are living in the fullness of your being. This freedom is not something you have to strive for, or something you find in the future. It's your inherent nature, available in every moment, a direct experience of being fully alive, fully present, and fully empowered. And how does your understanding of interconnectedness transform your interactions with others? What if from this state of oneness, you experience profound compassion for all beings, and recognize that every individual is a reflection of the same infinite consciousness, and that we are all part of the same family? This realization that you are the source also means that everyone else is the source, and that all are part of one unified consciousness, and therefore all are expressions of God. The understanding of this truth creates a deep sense of love and connection for everyone, and all your actions then come from compassion, because you understand that what you do to others you also do to yourself. Your actions and your intentions are always guided by empathy and understanding, and you begin to move beyond individual desires and start to embrace collective well-being. No matter what, we are all interconnected always. And how does the quantum code become a guide for conscious living? What if it's not just about escaping this reality, but about fully embracing this experience from a place of wholeness, and to recognize that each moment is an opportunity to express the divine? The quantum code is not a path to leave the simulation, but a guide to fully engage with it, with the awareness that you are both the player and the game, the experiencer and the experience. Each moment is an opportunity to express your divinity, to create from a place of love and understanding, and to embrace all that arises with full consciousness. It's not about escaping your experience, but about fully experiencing it with the full power of your being, from a place of wholeness, expressing your infinite nature in every moment. And how does individual transformation impact the collective experience? What if your individual awakening is fundamental for the awakening of all of humanity, and that each individual claiming their divine nature has a direct impact on the whole? Your journey is not just your own, it is the journey of the collective, and by claiming your divine nature, you become a catalyst for the awakening of everyone else. The world is a reflection of the collective consciousness, and when you change your inner world, you also change the outer world, because they are part of the same interconnected reality. By embodying the truth of who you are, you become a beacon of light that illuminates the path for others to step into their own truth. And how does the recognition of your true nature lead to a new collective reality? What if by awakening to our inherent divinity, we are collectively creating a new world, one based on love, compassion, and abundance, moving beyond the limitations of the current system, as more and more awaken to the quantum code? This new reality isn't something that we wait for, it's something that is actively created by those who embrace their divine nature and move beyond the limitations of the old paradigm. Imagine a world where cooperation replaces competition, where understanding replaces judgment, where love replaces fear. This world is not a distant dream, it's something that is already being birthed by those who have embraced the quantum code and who are living from the truth of their being. You are one of those people. And how does this understanding of the quantum code empower you to become a conscious co-creator of the future? What if the true evolution of humanity is tied to each individual's self-realization and the recognition that we all have the power to shape the world that we live in, actively participating in the evolution of the collective? Your understanding of the quantum code is not just a tool for personal liberation, it's also the key to creating a new world where everyone is empowered and everyone is recognized as divine. You are not just passively waiting for the future, you are actively creating it every single moment with your thoughts, your intentions, and your actions. And by embracing this role, you become the conscious agent of change that you are meant to be, aligning with the highest purpose, bringing a new world into being that is based on love, compassion, and understanding. And finally, how does the quantum code become the blueprint for a new harmonious world? What if these principles are not just for personal transformation, but for the creation of a reality where all can flourish, and to collectively create a future that serves the interests of everyone? The quantum code is not just a tool for shaping individual lives. It's a map for creating a society that works in harmony with the laws of consciousness. And when we act with the understanding that we are all connected, and that our individual actions impact the whole, we will create a world of peace, prosperity, and freedom. This future is not something we wait for, it's something we create with our conscious choices. And by embracing the power of the quantum code, we become the conscious co-creators of a world that serves the highest good of all. So, let's take a moment to synthesize all of the elements that we've explored in this section. The journey has led to the realization that you are God, the sole authority of your experience, and this understanding is not just an intellectual concept, but the direct knowing of your true nature. All the pieces have come together, each point leading to this ultimate understanding that the forbidden knowledge is not something external, but the truth that resides within every individual. And now the final question. Are you ready to fully embrace this inherent power, to step into your role as the conscious creator, and to actively shape your life, thus contributing to the shift of consciousness on this planet? The time for hesitation is over, the doubts have dissolved, and now it's time for action. You are not just a receiver of this knowledge, you are the active agent of change, and by fully embracing this truth, you can create a life that is aligned with your divine purpose. And how does all of this connect to the journey that you are on, and how can it further accelerate your transformation? What if your personal transformation is also the pathway for the collective liberation, and that every step you take is not only for your own good, but for the good of everyone? Each step that you take in claiming your divinity is also a step towards the liberation of humanity as a whole. Our individual experiences are interconnected with the collective, and by focusing on the positive aspects, we positively influence the entire world. And when you start to embody the truth that you are the source, you create a ripple effect that affects all of humanity. And it is time to embrace your role as the conscious co-creator of your reality, which is also the reality for all. This journey has led you to the full understanding that you are the source of creation, and that your power is not something to be attained, but something that is already within you. Now it's time to move forward and embody this understanding fully, and this will prepare you for the call to action, where the video will present the practical steps for you to fully live this truth, making it a part of your everyday experience. So, how does it feel now that you've arrived at the heart of the matter, the understanding that you are not separate from the divine source, but that you are that source itself? This entire journey of self-discovery has been guiding you to this very moment, revealing that your true nature is not merely a part of the whole, but that you are the wholeness itself. And this isn't simply an abstract idea, it's a direct recognition of who you've always been. The illusion of separation has finally dissolved, revealing that the source you were searching for was never outside of you, but rather was your own being. The inherent divinity that you've been striving for is not a belief, but the direct experience of your own consciousness, and now it's time to fully embody it. And what about the quantum code that we've been exploring? Isn't it clear now that this isn't some external formula or esoteric equation, but the very mechanics of consciousness itself, the way that awareness shapes reality? The understanding of this code allows you not only to consciously create your own experience, but to fully embrace the boundless potential of your divine nature. And it's through the connection of these elements, quantum principles, ancient wisdom, and practical applications, that you realize that they all converge in consciousness itself. The code is both the map and the territory, the guide and the path, and the territory is your own being, the very essence of who you are. And isn't it obvious now that this journey was always about self-realization, and that the forbidden knowledge wasn't something that was hidden from you, but something you were remembering about your true self? All of the concepts that we've explored, all the questions we've asked, were pointing to the same fundamental truth, that you are the creator of your own reality, and that this power is accessible through your own state of awareness. By understanding this, you are not just transforming your own individual life, but contributing to the collective transformation of reality, and this shift in understanding is the complete unveiling of your own divinity. And how does it feel to experience reality now from the perspective of a conscious creator, liberated from the old limitations and self-imposed constraints, knowing that you are not the receiver of a reality, but the active generator of it? This perspective shift is not just an intellectual understanding. It's a complete transformation of your being, an energetic shift that's allowing you to move beyond all limitations and start to experience the full potential of your being as the conscious source of all that is. Now, let's look at the bigger picture and ask ourselves, how does this understanding of your inherent power fit into the context of a collective awakening? And how does your personal transformation have a ripple effect that is contributing to the global shift? This shift of consciousness within you is contributing to a collective movement towards a more conscious future. And as more people begin to embrace their divine nature, they are also creating a better reality for all. This isn't a solitary path, but a collective one, and every step you take also benefits everyone around you. And what about the recurring patterns that we've explored throughout this video? Are they not simply different ways of pointing to the same underlying truth, that we are all interconnected, and that each of us has access to the same source of power? These patterns were not random. They were the keys, the maps, and the signposts to help you recognize your own divinity, and the deeper you look at them, the more they reveal their true purpose, which is to point to the inherent creator within you. And what are the implications of this understanding for the creation of a new world paradigm? What if the old power structures, based on external authorities, are replaced by the innate power of the individual? And what if we can begin to consciously create a society founded on cooperation, compassion, and abundance? Every individual who embraces this new state of awareness is actively creating this world. And it is not just a possibility, but a rapidly emerging reality where everyone is empowered and free. And is it clear now that this information isn't just an intellectual exercise, but a call to embodiment, a challenge to start living from this truth, and that the journey of self-discovery has just begun? The only way to fully understand this is by making this knowledge a part of your daily life, and by becoming the living example of this understanding. It's time for practical application of all that you have learned, so that your life becomes a testament to your inherent power and divinity. Now, let's bring all the threads together and complete this journey by revisiting the key ideas that we've been weaving throughout this video, so that all the pieces fall perfectly into place and any remaining questions are resolved. This journey was not a random assortment of concepts, but a carefully crafted path, leading you to this destination of self-realization, and it is now complete, bringing us to a point of perfect resolution. And doesn't it feel satisfying to complete the pattern of self-discovery by fully embracing your inherent authority and your power to create, knowing that you now possess the tools to manifest your highest desires, not only for yourself, but for the collective? This journey was always leading to this moment of empowerment, when you would fully realize that your inherent power is the key to shaping your experience, not as a passive receiver, but as the active creator of it. And now, are you able to resolve the questions that were initially posed at the beginning of the video? And can you see that the answers were not to be found externally, but within your own experience and self-knowledge? By following the path that has been laid out, you have arrived at the answers, not as something to believe, but as something to know, by discovering your own power and truth. And can you feel the release of any remaining tension, now that you've arrived at this point of clarity, understanding that all questions have been answered and that all confusion has dissolved? The journey has brought you to a place of peace, where you know that your own inherent power is all that you need, and that the path ahead is clear, without fear, and with an unwavering sense of certainty in your infinite potential. Now, let's open up a new territory beyond the limitations of the simulation, and see that this is not the end of the journey, but merely the beginning of a much greater adventure, a vast landscape of self-discovery and infinite possibilities that await you. What new dimensions of consciousness are waiting to be explored, and what lies beyond the perceived limitations of the physical world? This knowledge isn't a destination, but the starting point of a never-ending journey of discovery. And what about the boundless implications of this knowledge for your continued personal and collective evolution? How can you continuously grow and transform as you embody this new reality? And what new paths of exploration are available to you now that you've awakened to your true nature? There is no limit to your potential, and the learning and integration of this information is a never-ending process of growth and transformation. And how can you best engage with this material on a deeper level? By sharing your experiences and joining a community of like-minded individuals who are exploring their infinite potential, thus realizing that this is a journey that is meant to be shared. This is not a path to be walked alone, and by sharing your insights and connecting with others, you create a powerful support system for your own growth and for everyone else around you. So finally, what will be your next step in your continued journey of self-discovery? Will you continue to push the boundaries of what you believe is possible? And will you allow your awareness to expand to new levels, creating a life that is aligned with your divine potential and continuously manifesting your dreams? Remember, there is no limit to what you can achieve, and the journey of exploration is an endless dance of awareness and creation. So keep asking questions and keep stepping into the unknown.